Have you ever wondered how a massive, continent-spanning idea actually gets off the ground? From a huge breakthrough in green energy to some new medical tech. Well, big changes need big support. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the giant world of European Union funding for research and innovation. And you'll see exactly how these big ideas are brought to life.
So, to really get a grip on this, we first have to look at the strategy behind all these investment programs. This isn't just about throwing money around. It's about the fundamental why, the reason they're actively shaping the future of Europe.
So you have to ask, right? How does a union of 27 countries, all with their own priorities, come together to build a shared future, one that's competitive, sustainable, and prosperous for everyone? It sounds incredibly complex, but the answer is surprisingly focused.
Well, it all starts with bold, innovative ideas. But ideas, they need fuel to become reality. And that fuel comes in the form of billions and billions of euros strategically pointed at the projects and the people who are literally building tomorrow.
Okay, the absolute centerpiece of this entire strategy is the flagship program, Horizon Europe. Honestly, if you want to understand EU innovation funding, this is where you start. Think of it as the main engine for all things research and innovation.
It's like the central power source, right? It drives collaboration, research, and development all across the continent for a whole 7-year period. And the scale of this one program, it's just immense.
Get ready for this. 95.5 billion euros. That's the budget for Horizon Europe from 2021 to 2027. And that's not just a number on a screen. It's a huge statement about how crucial research and innovation are to the EU's long-term vision.
But look, Horizon Europe is about so much more than just cutting checks. Its real mission is to get people working together. We're talking multi-country projects where, say, a university in Germany is collaborating with a startup in Spain. It's all designed to turn pure research into real-world action that directly supports EU policies.
And the ambition here is, well, it's huge. This funding is aimed squarely at solving some of our biggest challenges, from fighting climate change with new green tech to hitting the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. And it's all connected, right? Driving growth, creating jobs, and making sure every single euro invested has the biggest possible impact.
So while Horizon Europe is the big, all-encompassing mothership, the EU also has these really specialized tools for specific missions. Let's take a look at how funding is targeted towards two of the most critical areas out there: our health and our planet.
On one side, you've got the EU4 Health Program, which is all about building stronger, more resilient health systems. And on the other, there's the LIFE Program, which takes on our environmental and climate challenges. Two totally distinct missions, but they share the same goal of creating a better, more secure future for all of us.
Let's look at the health side first. EU4 Health has a budget of 5.3 billion euros. Now, to put that into perspective, that makes it the largest EU health program ever. It's a really serious investment in getting ready for health crises, strengthening our healthcare systems, and just promoting public health across the entire Union.
The LIFE program is every bit as ambitious. It focuses its mission on 4 areas that are all deeply connected: protecting nature and biodiversity, pushing for a circular economy, adapting to and fighting climate change, and, of course, speeding up the transition to clean energy. It's a really holistic approach to building a sustainable future.
Okay, so we've seen the big innovation engine and the targeted funds. But how does the EU make sure that progress is shared by everyone and the development is balanced across all its different regions? Well, this brings us to this idea of cohesion and the massive funds that are designed to bridge those gaps.
And this might surprise you, but more than half of all EU funding flows through just 5 huge funds. Together, they're known as the European Structural and Investment Funds, or ESIF for short. Their one shared purpose is to invest in creating jobs and building a sustainable economy, especially in the regions that need that boost the most.
So how does this whole system work? Well, think of it as the partnership. The European Commission sets the big picture, but the funds are managed together with the member countries themselves. This makes sure that the investments actually match up with local needs. Then, the money flows through those 5 main channels, all with that single goal of boosting jobs and sustainability right there on the ground.
And here they are, the 5 funds that make up the ESIC framework. As you can see, their scope is incredibly broad, covering everything from rural development to maritime policy. For our tour, we're going to zoom in on 2 key players here:
the Cohesion Fund, and the European Regional Development Fund.
The Cohesion Fund has a very specific mission. It provides targeted support to member states where the gross national income, which is basically a measure of a country's wealth, is below 90% of the EU average. This funding is aimed directly at reducing those economic gaps by investing in major transport and environmental projects.
Now, the European Regional Development Fund, or ERDF, also works to fix imbalances, but it operates at the regional level, not the national one. This is all about investing in the unique potential of individual regions, supporting small businesses, funding research centers, and building up digital infrastructure to make sure that all areas can compete and thrive.
All right, we've toured the flagship program, the targeted funds, and the cohesion programs. So now, let's pivot a little. Let's talk about what these funds are, to what they actually mean for you.
Because here's the key takeaway, the most important part of all this. These vast pools of money aren't just sitting in a vault somewhere. They're active, open calls for proposals. They are, in essence, concrete invitations for universities, research centers, companies, and individuals like you to bring your absolute best ideas forward.
So you see, it all comes back to this. This massive, kind of complex system of funding is, at the end of the day, a search for great ideas that can build a healthier, greener, and more prosperous future for Europe. And that leaves us with one final, and I think really inspiring question: what idea will you bring to life?